the beginning because this is where I started, you know, and I'm going to kind of interpret what I mean or what the beginning means to me. So this is commonly called Genesis, the first book of Moses. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the cattle according to their kinds, and everything that creeps upon the ground according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female. So God created men to their own likeness and to his own image, and therefore female and male according to God's likeness. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. When I first heard about this, I thought what a seed that was planted in my mind about this was that, there was more than one God, because it says, God said, let us make men in our own image, speaking that, it's multiple, in our own image, after the likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air. So I felt like there was like multiple, there wasn't only one, there was more than one God, because God said us and our. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. So I feel like everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has breath, has been giving every green plant for food. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of animals nowadays are eating regular food. A lot of men and humans are putting their food in and mixing it for dog food, animal food, and this is wrong, because animals are not supposed to be eating our food. Animals are not supposed to be eating meat, this, that, and the third. They are supposed to only be eating green vegetations. God breathed the breath of life in which this man became alive, in which this dust that was only dust had become a human. And the Lord God planted the garden of Eden in the east, and those he put man whom he had formed, and out of the ground the Lord God made to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight of and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and there it divided. It became 4 rivers. The name of the first river is Pishon. It is the only one which flows around the whole land of Havilah, which there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there, and the name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one which flows around the whole land of Cush, and the name of the third river is Tigris, which flows east of Israel, and the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to till it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, you are freely to eat every tree of the garden, but the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat. For in the day that you eat it, you shall die. Now the serpent was more subtle than any other wild creature that the Lord God had made. He had said to the woman, did God say you shall not eat of the tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but God said you shall not eat of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. But the serpent said to the woman, you will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. And who doesn't want this? Who doesn't want to know more than they were put on earth to know? This gives purpose. Like, oh my gosh, now I see this is what God gave us, the vision. This is what gave us, knowledge is something that you want, because it's just like, I'm not here just to be, just to do that and just to do this, but I'm here for more. If I know wisdom, if I have knowledge of God, then maybe I can gain more insight. Maybe I can, maybe there's more meant for me than I know. And this is probably what she thought, but at the time I'm pretty sure she didn't think, because she didn't have that knowledge. So just imagine yourself as, I want to say as still as a tree, but I feel like trees got wisdom. Just imagine yourself as a newborn. You don't know, you don't think, and all you know is to eat, to live, and to play. So when the serpent came to her, you only know what you know as just to live. And the serpent comes to you speaking different, speaking strange. It's like telling the kid, like the witch in the apple in the just like the witch gave the apple. You know, the witch is giving the apple. If you eat this fruit, you know, it will make you beautiful. If you eat this fruit, you will have so much to offer, you know. So it's just like, wow, okay, I'm going to eat this fruit and I'm going to see if you're right. And like I said, she's not really thinking this way. So, oh, this fruit is magical. I'm going to eat it. So when the woman saw the tree was good for food and that it was a delight to the eyes, was good for food, so it's good, and it's looking like basically like a candy apple. And it was delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise. So not only is it good and it's looking so delicious, you know, and that's probably what it was though. You know, it's like a child seeing this candy, you know, and it looks so good. You know, you're not really thinking about what it does for you. You know, he can be saying all this stuff to get her to eat it, but she's really focused on how delightful and how good it's looking. You know, it's looking better than any apple that she's seen on all the trees. And she's just like, I want this apple. So she took the fruit and ate, and she also gave some of her husband. She also gave some to her husband, and he ate. Then the eyes of both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. So you ever feel like, I feel like I know this feeling. This feeling is like, okay, so you feel so comfortable, you feel so good about yourself, you know, because you're not really paying attention to outwardly appearances. You know, it's like kind of like opening your eyes to a mirror. You know, you're being introduced to a mirror. You see this mirror you see yourself in this mirror for the first time. You know, before you're just going by the mind, you just think like you're looking at, you know, okay, you feel comfortable. You don't see any flaws. You don't see, you know, you got weight on you. You don't see nothing. You just see your body, and you just see your hands, and you see your feet, and you feel okay. But as soon as she bit that apple, it's like she got this feeling of, you know, this discomfort. Like, oh my gosh, like, what are these? You know, start freaking out. What is, you know, oh my gosh, like I feel like I need to be covered. Like I feel very uncomfortable, you know. So that's that feeling, and I feel like when you feel that feeling, that's when you need to pray. You need to pray because the fact that you feel like you feel this discomfort is something in your spirit that is telling you that this is wrong. This feels wrong. Why does this feel so wrong? You know, it hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard the sound of thee in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself." Afraid, fearful. You know, so this apple has planted the seed of fear inside the woman and the man's spirit. Discomfort and fear. Those are two traits you need to look out for. Two emotions that are not meant to be felt, but they felt it because evil has planted itself inside them. He said, "The woman that you gave me this fruit and I ate," thinking that, you know, it's just a regular fruit, you know, because it didn't say that, oh, I found the serpent gave me. She didn't say the serpent gave me this apple. Here, eat it. So he didn't really have a choice in the matter. He's basically just thinking, you know, it's just fruit. You know, I'm hungry. You're giving me fruit, just like any woman out here, you know, is catering to their man. As soon as you come home, you cook up food and you hand it to your man. Him not knowing what this is. He's just eating it because I was hungry. I returned, and here I'm going to eat because I'm hungry. And to Adam he said, "Because you have listened to the voice of your wife, So therefore I took that and I was like, okay, so the voice of your wife is kind of like wisdom of the trees, the wind. You know, this is the voice. The woman is the voice of the man, and the man is the body, you know, more physical. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground. For out of you were taken, you are dust, and to dust you shall return." The man called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. And the Lord God made for Adam and for his wife garments of skins and clothed them. So you can tell God was really mad. Then the Lord God said, "Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil, and now us, you know, so multiple." To go back to the first sin and its punishment. Now the serpent was more subtle than any other wild creature. Okay, it said, "You shall not eat a fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die." God did not tell them about the serpent. But the serpent said to the woman, "You will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." It's just like, why would, you know, it's just like, what is it about this fruit? You know, when God created everything, every being, every living thing on earth, what makes this fruit so different? Why was this fruit or this tree there in the first place? How did it get there? You know, they are in the garden. Maybe this tree and this fruit was God's food, and that's why they couldn't touch it. Maybe this was God's food specifically. That makes sense. So, Genesis and another Bible edition, and see what I can get from that, because all Bibles are different, so maybe another one will make sense to me. It says 3. The serpent was the shootest of all the wild animals the Lord God made. On the day he asked the woman, was a shootest of all wild animals. What does shootest mean? Shootest means having or showing sharp powers of judgment, mischievous, malicious. So it's a characteristic of this creature that God made. And maybe this creature was God's first mistake of creation. So maybe this creature was the end to God's next creation. And you know, the last of God's creation, God created this creature, but this creature was a mistake. But God didn't destroy this creature. So he allowed this creature to be in his new creation, moving on to the next. So this God, maybe this is why, you know, they didn't destroy this creature. God didn't destroy this creature. But carried on this creature to his new creation. So maybe the fact that the serpent was a mistake, the serpent taught God's new creation, because he was the first creation. The serpent was God's first creation, taught the new creation to doing what the first creation did, and basically ended something before it started. It was the shootest of all wild animals. Now the serpent was more subtle than any animal of the field which Yahweh God had made.